Hey, this is your friend, Pastor Chris. This is Yacach. I want you to watch Yacach every Wednesday, 12 o'clock British Standard Time. Yacach drops. Subscribe to the page on YouTube, Andoh Ministries, and on Facebook. Every Wednesday, we have Yacach, that is inspirational words to live by. Catch us every Wednesday. God bless. Today, we've been talking about letters to me. We started a few weeks back, and I said to you, letters to me came about as a result of the question that I ask all my guests on this show. I asked them if you had the benefit of hindsight, you had the benefit of going back, rolling back the years to speak to your young self, what would be some of the advices, words of wisdom, nuggets of wisdom that you've learned now that you would have shared with your young self to help you do better than you have done up to this point? And I am asking, or I started asking myself the same question, and I came up with letters to me. So this is, if you like, a self-reflection, introspection of who or what I probably would have done better or done if I had the benefit of going back to my young self as a 20-year-old self, 25-year-old self. What would I advise myself? And I'm sharing the same advice with you. It doesn't matter how old you are, this advice also works, or this advice is also good for all of us to take. And today I want to talk about perseverance. Perseverance. And I entitled this piece, Persevere Like a Spider. You know, a spider is very perseverant, a very little creature, most hated of all their household creatures, but it thrived all over the world up to this point. It doesn't matter what the weather is. It doesn't matter how cold, how hot, how unfriendly the atmosphere is. The spider thrives. And I want to say to my young self, persevere like a spider. You know, in Proverbs chapter 30, verse 28, it says that the spider skillfully grabs with his hands and it's in king's palaces. I mean, it doesn't matter how posh the place is, you can find a spider there. And it's because a spider does not allow barriers, distractions, oppositions, obstructions to deter it from doing what he has to do, or it has to do. And you see, in life, you will come across opposition. I don't care what you want to do in life. There will be barriers, obstacles, that impediments that will be put on your way. How you circumvent them will determine how prosperous or how successful you become. So being able to overcome these obstacles would really make you become as successful as you want to be. And the first thing I would tell my young self is that live anywhere God has called you to live, in spite of the opposition. The spider is in the king's palace. No king's palace will welcome a spider. In fact, the king's palace is cleaned maybe 3-4 times in a day, and yet the spider thrives there. Which means, and you and I know that when you see a spider or you see a spider's web, the first instinct you have as a human being is to destroy it or clear it. And yet it doesn't deter the spider from rebuilding and staying there. So I'm telling you, whatever the opposition is, whatever the damage is, whatever happens, do not be deterred by who doesn't want you in a place. You know, there's some offices you go to, there's some workplaces I've been, and somebody didn't like me. I felt intimidated by 1 or 2 people, and I wanted to leave. Now, if I have the benefit of what I know now, I'll tell my young self that, listen, don't allow anybody to move you from where God has put you. Where God has put you is where your blessing is. And incidentally, the Bible says that God prepares a table before us in the presence of our enemies. So as for enemies, not unless you don't have the table of God that set in front of you, your enemies will be there. It is your tenacity It's your perseverant spirit. It's your never say die attitude that will enable you to sit in the presence of your enemies and be able to take your cutlery and eat. So know that where you are is what God has given you. And in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 24, the Bible says, every place where the sole of your foot shall tread upon is yours. God has given you from the wilderness of the Lebanon all the way to the great river Euphrates. God has given you that land. God repeated the same scripture to Joshua. In Joshua chapter 1, he said to him that everywhere the sole of your foot shall tread, I've given you. Don't be intimidated by the Hittites, the Canaanites, the Jebusites, all those ites that live in the land where God has placed you. Go there. It's your land, and take the land. So be perseverant. Don't allow people, opposition, look at you funny. I remember we started a church somewhere, and some people decided to deter us. They came, intimidated us. They wrote letters to us saying that we're not welcome in the place, and they wanted to chase us out. But you see, we stayed. We did not allow the opposition to drive us out of the land. We stayed there and we thrived there. So I would say to you that don't allow anyone to blow you away from where God has called you to be. It doesn't matter who they are. They could be people in authority. They could be anything. It doesn't matter. If you believe and you are very confident and assured that God has given you that place, then stay there and thrive there. There's a story in Genesis 26 where Isaac dwelt in the land. From verse 12, the Bible says Isaac had opposition. He sowed in the land, and in the same year of famine, Isaac reaped 100-fold. And the people were not happy with him. They tried to move him away. The indigents, he was a foreigner there. They didn't want him there. But Isaac stayed there. And not only did he stay, but he thrived and did well in that place. You know the secret? The secret is that in Psalm 24, verse 1 and 2, the Bible says, earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell in them. The world is not for anybody. No country belongs to any group of people. It belongs to God. In the Bible says, verse 2, it says that he has founded it upon the seas and established upon the waters. God has established, and if God is our Father and God has given us the land, wherever land, that is where we are supposed to be. That is where we are supposed to thrive and do well. So it doesn't matter where you are, who is watching, who is opposing. Make sure that you stay there and you do well there. How often do we allow opposition to deter us? How often do we allow people with their, squeeze faces to make us shy away from what God has called us? In Jeremiah chapter 1, Bible says, God said to young Jeremiah, do not be afraid of their faces. Their faces may look intimidating, but don't allow it to intimidate you. Don't care what opposition there is. The spider will do what the spider does. It is not going to allow anybody to deter it. And the second thing is that don't allow the missiles that is thrown at you to derail you from your course. You can have, I wrote a story in one of the books that I had a spider's web on my window, on my wind mirror, on my car. And every morning I get up, I would destroy the web. The next morning when I get up to go to the car, the web would have been built back again. I'll destroy it for over a week. Anytime I destroy the web, the spider created another one, more beautiful and more elaborate than the first one. And you destroy it, the next day it's created another one. That is how we must be. We must not allow the missiles, the arrows that is thrown at us to deter us from what God has destined for us to achieve in life. Don't allow, self-doubt into anything that you are doing. Sometimes opposition creates self-doubt. When people throw missiles at you, at the point you begin to believe in the ammunition that's being thrown at you, that maybe they are right. Maybe this thing that they are doing is because I'm doing something wrong. No, don't have that type of attitude. Be perseverant. They say that no, you cannot do it. Tell them that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. They say that you are not welcome here. Say that the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. He has founded it, and I am the child of God. And if God has given me this land, I will thrive here. Whatever missile they throw at you, don't allow it to stick. It's up to you. It's not who calls you what is important. It's what name you choose to respond to. You call me a fool and I don't respond, it doesn't make me a fool. It's just like a noise that is being mused in your ear. You can decide to respond to the noise or just ignore it. I'll ignore it and do what God has called me to do. Become courageous. Become courageous. One of the secret to being persistent is being courageous in the face of adversity. Young David was about to go face Goliath, and his brothers came and said to him, who have you left the few sheep that you are looking after? You are just a shepherd boy. You can't do anything. What makes you think that you can come and play in a men's game? You can't come and play in a place where even your elder brothers are scared to play in. Even King Saul said to him that, listen, you can't go against this man because he's a man of war. He's been a man of war since his youth, and you are only a child. You cannot go against him. And David said that it's not about size. I looked after my father's sheep. A bear came, I attacked it, and a lion came, I attacked. I killed the lion, I killed the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine is going to be like one of those creatures that attacked the few sheep that my father gave me to look after. And in the same way, he did not allow the intimidation of his brothers. He did not allow even the intimidation of the king, to the point that the king gave him his heavy attire armor to put on, and he tried to wear it to go, and he couldn't go in them. He said, listen, I know you mean well, but I can't go in that. Let me go in what I know. Let me do what I know best to do, and I know I'll do well. So he went in his own clothes. He took his own ammunition, that is the sling, and he selected 5 smooth stones, and it did the trick. It doesn't matter who is opposing you and what is being said around you. Let God, let what God has called you to do be the thing that watchword, and that is what makes you do well. In James chapter 1 verse 12, the Bible says that blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, for once he's approved, he will receive a crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. If you can persist, you receive a crown. I wish I had known this. There are certain battles I ran away from when I was younger that I would have overcome if I had done it, if I knew that running away is not an option. Running away is not an option. It makes you weak. And you see, when you fail that test, you have to revisit that test until you pass it. Never run away from opposition. Never run away from criticism. People criticize somebody. If you are nobody, nobody will criticize you. It's when you become somebody that you will be criticized. So don't allow criticisms. Don't allow arrows and jabs that is being thrown at you to deter you. Another characteristic of that is part of perseverance is not being lazy. You see, laziness is not a character trait of the spider. Spider is always busy. You cannot be lazy and tell me you are perseverant. A lot of us, we like to be on easy street, the Bible says. Don't be on easy street. Easy street is not a destination. It's not a place. It doesn't take you to success. That route never goes to success. You cannot be lazy and expect to be successful. I always say something that potential is great. Having potential is great. Being blessed with giftings is a good thing. But give me somebody who is a hard worker. I will take that person over a gifted person all day long. Especially if that gifted person is lazy. I will take the hard worker who has less talent. That less talented hard worker will do better than the talented lazy person. Make sure that you add to your talent hard work. Hard work always pays. Hard work, being persistent, being perseverant, making sure that you are not, you don't take no, you don't take failure as a result. You go. If you fail the first time, try again. If you fail the second time, try again. Keep trying until you win. There's always going to be a winning day one day. Amidst all the failing days, one day will be your day of winning. It doesn't matter how many people have rejected you, how many people have said no. Don't stop trying. Don't stop working. Keep working, keep building. The spider has a work ethic that is it's bar none. It doesn't come behind any creature. The spider is always building, is always working. You destroy his house, he builds the next day. He does not stop. The next thing about the being persistent is being creative. Learn to be creative. Don't do the same thing the same way all the time. Think outside the box. Is there a way, a better way of doing this? Whatever is in front of you, can I do it better? Can I, the spider plans. The spider is an architect and a builder. He designs the building before he builds. He just doesn't get up and build anything anyhow. He's very, very, very smart. He's calculating. He calculates what will be the best way to do this. How best can I do this? How best can I perform? And he performs according to plan. Learn to perform according to plan. Don't be a haphazard person, like anything happens, anything goes. No. Be very, very, very circumspect and be very clever in what you do. In Proverbs 22:29, the Bible says, do you see a man who excels in his work? He shall stand before kings and not before unknown men. Be strategic. Be strategic. In every work you do, be strategic. I don't care what type of work you're doing, be strategic. I was a type of spontaneous type of person. I've always been a spontaneous person. I just go with the flow. But for the benefit of what I know now, I will say to my young self, learn to be strategic. Don't just act. Think through what you are going to do. Plan it. Make sure that you know exactly how you are going to put things together, how you're going to start, how you're going to end and conclude whatever you're doing. I remember as a student, my lecturer used to say to me, when the invigilator says start work, it doesn't mean you should start answering the question. You have to take 5 minutes to think through the question. Ask yourself, what do they want from me? Think through the question, put a few points down, structure your answer before you start writing. Because you see people, as soon as they say start work, they start writing, and they write, and in the middle of what they've written, maybe they've written about 2-3 pages, they realize they are not answering the question right. And now they start to rewrite what they should have done. If they are taking 5 minutes to think through, they would have gotten it right, and they wouldn't have cancelled or like put crosses on pages they've written already, and wasted time. Learn to be very, very strategic, calculating before you start. Don't just start doing things. Be very strategic. Another thing, last one that I'm going to talk about today, is be patient. Part of perseverance is learning how to be patient, learning to strike at the right time, learning to do things at the right time, at the right way. Don't just do because you can do. No, be very strategic and be very patient. The spider is a patient creature. When the spider wants to catch an insect, the spider would leave its half of its prey in a web and then hide in a corner, waiting patiently for an insect to come and attack that creature that has been left. And when it comes, the spider will strike. So learn to be patient. They say that the patient bird is the one that catches the worm. If you are not patient, good things will pass through your fingers. Learn to be like a spider. I believe that we have shared a few things about perseverance that will help you, that will help me. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are in life. These few pieces of advice will help all of us to do better than we've done. And until I come your way again, this has been your friend, Pastor Chris. Shalom, peace. I'll see you next week.